Hi, welcome to the She Moves Mountains podcast. This is your host, Kamala Murphy. Thanks for joining us today as we talk about some of the juicy stuff we women experience that makes this life journey truly amazing. You know, the nitty-gritty, the love, the loss, the falling down and rising up, the getting lost and finding our way again. To our hearts, our happiness, and to the awareness that we can and do move mountains. Thank you for joining. Hi, this is Kamala Murphy. Welcome to this episode of the She Moves Mountains podcast. I'm so glad that you're here. Today, I wanted to speak a little bit about something that I've been noticing with a number of the women that I've been working with in the last several weeks. And that is that so many of them, and I include myself, struggle with self-love and self-appreciation. And a lot of it is tied back to childhood, our childhood wounds. Because let's face it, no one gets through childhood unscathed. Even the most well-meaning and conscious parents aren't perfect and unwittingly hurt their kids. And then teachers and society all can add to the mix. A number of the wounds that have to do with self-love and appreciation seem to stem, the ones that I've seen, seem to stem around being seen, or actually not being seen and not being heard and not feeling valued. And as we know, those, feeling seen and valued is important to all of us, but especially for little kids. And several years ago, I was reading from one of the devotionals that I read every morning, part of my daily routine. And this particular story really struck a chord for me. So I've kept it marked and come back to it often. And in this story, there's a grandmother and a mother and a little girl who go into a restaurant. And the waitress takes the grandmother's order and then the mother's order, and then looks at the little girl and, well, what would you like, honey? And the mother says, well, I'll order for her. And the waitress politely ignores the mother and leans over and asks the little girl, what would you like? And the little girl says, I like a hamburger. And how would you like that? Would you like ketchup and mustard and pickles, the works? And the little girl says, yes, the works, and claps her hands. She's so excited. And the waitress yells out to the cook, the grandmother's order, the mother's order, and we'll have a deluxe hamburger with the works. And the little girl turns to her mother and is kind of like shocked and says, Mommy, she thinks I'm real. And that always strikes me because this little girl didn't have the experience of being real. Mom would just order for her, or she just wouldn't be seen. But this waitress takes the time to lean in and acknowledge, I see you, sweetheart. And I think for a lot of us women, there is still a 3-year-old or 5-year-old inside of us who didn't get acknowledged, who wasn't seen. In fact, I have a vivid memory of myself being about 3 and just being ignored, and how much I really longed to be seen and loved up. So for those of us who are baby boomers, we need to recognize that paying attention to the emotional needs of the children was not our mother's prime focus. There were other things that they had to be paying attention to. And so we may have gotten short shrift as far as emotional caring and attention. So now, although we may be in our 50s or 60s or 70s, there still may be a little girl inside of us who is desperate to be seen and loved up. So that's what I'd like to invite you to do today. Take a little bit of time and get in touch with the little girl that you used to be. And I imagine, sort of kneeling down, getting eye to eye with her and just loving her up. Maybe asking her what she needs, what she wants to do today, but paying attention. Because what I've noticed for me is when I get eye to eye with that little girl that I mentioned, there's such an enthusiasm that gets wakened again. And we develop a really sweet relationship. And she is the part of me that is light and bubbly and so much fun. Maybe today you can give your little girl permission to come out and play and have a good time and see what happens. See if you don't experience a little bit more joy in your day. And let me know how that goes for you. I'd love to hear. I think being in touch with that younger part of ourselves, the part that is full of joy and wonder, can help us through the challenges that we experience and move the mountains, do the things that we're being called to. Because isn't it a lot more pleasurable and doable if we are in a state of joy and appreciation and enthusiasm? So again, I'd love to hear from you. Find out how it works for you to have this eye-to-eye conversation with the little one that you used to be. Thank you for listening. This is Kamala sending love to you and that little girl inside you. May you feel seen, loved, and delighted in. Until next time, bye for now. You've been listening to the She Moves Mountains podcast, coming to you every week. If you're a woman who wants to move mountains in your own life, please make sure to subscribe or follow this podcast. And if you've laughed or gotten teary or smiled knowingly thinking, oh yeah, that's me too, please go ahead and rate the episode with 5 stars. It'll be a feel-good thing to do. Thanks a bunch. Lots of love and blessings to you. This is Kamala signing off. Until next week. Take care.